We have a lot of rivers that keep bursting their banks. This situation, I feel, is not going to get any better anytime soon. And I think that there is a way to deal with this. Maybe it's not the best, including storing this water, but not only that, either side of rivers. You know the way they build the Channel Tunnel? With a big rig that cuts through the rock and everything else under the ocean. It would be much like this, but either side of the river. Either side of it. And either A, we fill this up with gravel and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff like that, so you can walk across it, but again, might not be great. Or we would then end up putting drains into this. We cut into the rocks either side of the river, yes? Do this either side and underground, as best as we can, as deep as we can. We want to be quite deep. And then we put up little channels up towards the surface with a drain on it. And these rivers, we would go all the way the rivers, all the way, follow the course, as best as we can. And then as we begin to do that, yes, the water, when it begins to rain, if the river has a risk of breaking the banks, it will fall into these drain systems, which would be empty tunnels. The water would spill into there and it would run its course all the way to the sea. Or at least away from any population that's going to be damaged by the expanding river. I think this would be a better way to achieve it, to be fair, to get it to the sea as quickly as possible. You see, we managed to build cities and villages and towns where we could get the water away from the city and the town and get it really quickly into the river. But you've got to follow the river, and then the weather system, if you like, is following that course as well. So it's dropping all of this moisture down, and one city has just dumped it into a river, and then this is still raining. The system is following a course, and the next city is then dumping the water into the river, and the next one, and the town, and the village. And then before you know it, you burst your banks. So I think that it's good that we've managed to get the water to go to the rivers pretty quickly. But now we need to help the rivers get to the sea more quickly. Now, there's several methods to that. Like I said, getting the rig, digging it quite deep underground, and channeling a tunnel that runs all the way either side. And then put up little, I don't know, channels that go to the surface. Fill these in with a cage or whatnot, like we do with piling, but hollow. A drain sits on top of that. When it goes, that drain is taking in the water, the next drain, next drain, next drain. Or you'd like to think of it like when you're in a swimming pool and you have those bits around the outside of the swimming pool that when you get out, the water falls into there and then runs back into the pool. It'd be much similar to this, but rather than running back into the pool, which would be the river, this one would run directly to the ocean. Or to the very end of the river where there's no more population and it can hit into the estuary. I like this idea because I think it brings a lot of jobs, for sure. Interesting ones as well. And, you know, it then starts to put a cog in that whole, oh no, the riverbank is going to overflow. Well, it's not, that will be a thing of the past then after that. So, get water to go there as quickly as possible, I think, is the answer, rather than news stories saying about how much damage it's done and this, that and the other. And I'm sure it might not work for severe weather, but again, maybe start connecting the drains to this area as well and get them to run into this much more quicker. And then in the summer, when the rivers dry out, if we have another freaky summer where everything starts to dry out, I'd recommend that councils, if still about, or environmental teams that would go around with diggers, dump trucks. We're going to dig them out. We're going to make them very deep and clear away anything that's in there that's not meant to be in there. And then we wait for it to fill again. And therefore, it should, if we can dig that river out, to be 4 times as deep. Sounds like a lot, but again, we can make the sides a bit more concrete, nice. It can still road away in different areas where it needs to, but it will be so much more deeper. Well, you can now fill that river 4 times the amount without it bursting its banks. So there are many ways to achieve this. So I put this forth a number of years ago. I made this very clear that we really need to do something about our rivers and that we need to begin digging them out and clearing away all the debris. Again, because if you've got a dam effect happening from all of the junk that's in the rivers. This is going to affect its flow, and the water is going to want to go in any way it possibly can, and that's usually across the land. So if we want to build houses on areas that are prone to taking this water as like a lock, we're going to need to dig the rivers out, or we're going to need to build 2 rivers equal size under the ground, the same way you build a channel. It goes from here to France, yes? We want to build something like that, but we don't want to put any vehicles in it. We want it to be empty, and when it bursts its banks, in it goes, off it goes. So, and if it doesn't work 100%, at least it's going to be at least a percentage of less damage. I think that could help. I think it is we can conquer that. That's easy. I think if we just work with it and get going. So yeah, there you are. That's my understanding there. There we go.